Hey everybody, this is Sean Fitzgerald from Fits of Writing, author of Bleeding the Divine, which you can get in paperback, Kindle, Kindle Unlimited, and audiobook format. Tonight I'm going to be interviewing author Derrick Hall. His book that we'll be releasing soon is called The Qetran Odyssey. Let's go ahead and jump in. So I am here with author Derrick Hall. He wants to talk about his book, The Qetran Odyssey. It should be coming out here in November. Derrick, why don't you say hi to everybody and tell us a little bit about yourself and how things have been as an author so far.
Oh, that's a mixed question. The whole process has been both exciting and a nightmare. I was never intending to be a writer, and I've really enjoyed finding that little part of myself. So it's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of work, but we're plugging away.
Well, it sounds like it's paying off here. You got a book coming out in a little over a month. Tell us a little bit about the Qetran Odyssey. What would you say inspired it?
The whole thing started as an idea for a Dungeons and Dragons campaign. So I DM, I play D&D, and I do a lot of homebrew, so I come up with my own worlds and stories. And I had an idea. I started trying to flesh it out, and it got to a point where characters started appearing, and the world kind of as a whole got a little too big for D&D. And I pretty much said, "F it, I'm going to write a book."
I'm far from an expert on D&D, but I have always found it difficult to imagine a world getting too big for that. What's your word count on the book?
The one releasing in November is sitting at about 115K. The sequel is probably about a third done, and it's sitting at 70K. So it's
Biggins.
It's growing. Yeah, very big.
The beast grows. Well, tell everybody a little bit about what your process is like. Do you outline real heavy? It sounds like you've got some really good visual aids to help you with your planning process, at least as far as I understand. But that would be more of a world building thing, right?
Yeah, it tends to be. I collect props. I have lots of props. D&D stuff, nerdy artwork. Gandalf is staring at me as we speak. And it's just, I like to put myself in an environment that makes me think of things. And that ends up looking like clutter. But it's lots of little figures, model cars, D&D minis, my own artwork, other artwork, video game posters, that sort of thing. But it's all there for a purpose. It's there to inspire, essentially. But as far as my actual writing process goes, I don't outline a single thing. I don't plan. I don't do any of it. I just sit down and write. Which is both good and really annoying, because sometimes it just doesn't work. But I went into this with a basic idea and just started writing and haven't stopped for a year and a half now.
So you write by the seat of your pants. I'm finding it fascinating. I don't think I would get to 40,000 words without an outline, so good on you there.
I kind of know where I'm going and what specific plot points I want to hit, but I don't write it down, and beyond that, what happens. I learn more about my characters from my characters than I do from myself. They just sort of evolve.
That is not a bad thing at all.
Not at all. It's different?
No, yeah, it's different, but awesome. Now, is this the first book? I know that when we first started talking, it was the Crimson Prophecy is the series. So is Qetran Odyssey book 1?
Qetran Odyssey is book 1.
Okay.
There's also a prequel novella that released in July.
Okay. Where can people find that?
That is on Amazon. Paperback, Kindle, and Kindle Unlimited for now. So that's out there. It's fairly short. It's about 75 pages, but it takes one of the characters from the novel and really expands on him and his backstory.
Gotcha.
And sets up the main novel.
Okay. Definitely like a super long prologue, which I love those.
Pretty much.
Gets you right set up to appropriately absorb the story. Does the series overall, or just Qetran Odyssey, do they have a theme that you're looking to kind of portray, or a question to ask, something that you want readers to consider?
I didn't particularly plan like a moral to the story. I hate that. It drives me nuts. But the story and the series, which I'm hoping to button up with a trilogy, but you know how that goes. It visits on a lot of somewhat heavy topics. Wealth disparity, corrupting power, slavery and indenture, racial tensions, lots of things that are sort of relevant to the real world, but presented in a way that it's a little more palatable than watching the news. If that makes sense.
No, I understand. Okay. So tell me something that you've got to have when you sit down to pump out a 115K book followed by a 210K book. What needs to be around to get you in the zone?
Nicotine, liquor, and music of some variety. I can't write without music. Whether that be like epic fantasy soundtracks or power metal or whatever it happens to be, flavor of the day.
Flavor of the day is good.
Flavor of the day.
You got more ability to concentrate than I do.
Kind of
If I listen to music, I'll start typing the lyrics. I get lost easy. I'm distractible. But you said that there's a novella out there that folks can find. What kind of responses have you got on that yet so far?
I've had some encouraging but limited sales.
Okay.
I've had some really good reviews. Pretty much everybody I've seen a review from or that has talked to me about it has said, I want more. When is the next book? Hurry up. Why isn't it November yet?
You're George R.R. Martining them.
I hope so. That's the goal. I've had Winds of Winter on pre-order since 2012.
Oh my gosh. Yikes. Well,
I think I've lost my money at this point.
Maybe. That remains to be seen, and it's none of my business.
Right.
But you heard him here, folks. He's had encouraging but limited sales. Go check this out. You only have a month and a half or so to do it. Go get his prequel. What's the prequel titled again?
The Trials of Tiarsus.
Let him know what you think.
Please. I need reviews.
So, what would you say to somebody who, let's say, they play Dungeons and Dragons and they appreciate something, a story that's in the genre that you're writing? What would you say to, if they came to you and said, I'm on the fence whether or not to buy this, what would you say to encourage them to spend their money on you?
I would say that if you've ever gotten into a 3 or 4 hour conversation with a stranger about D&D, you might as well give the book a chance. That's basically what it is. I don't include game mechanics or character sheets or anything like that, but there was, more occasions than I can count in the process of writing the book where I literally picked up my dice and rolled to figure out what was going to happen because I could not make up my mind.
It's good to have options, I suppose.
Right?
That's a very interesting way to make the plot go.
It's very stream of thought, and it kind of rolls very much like a D&D campaign would, because that's what it was. That's how it started in my brain, and that just sort of, that thread stayed with it through the process.
That's very interesting, and you are the first person that I've spoken to so far who have had something in this vein of a creation process. So, unique and creative in a whole new way. I'm curious to know if there's any other authors out there. I'm going to have to look and find them.
There's a few.
A few.
There's a few.
I guess, tell me, now that you have a book out and everything, so you've had a chance to market and everything, talk to a couple of people. You said that you had an interview with your local paper. What has been your proudest moment as an author so far?
I really don't think that's changed since we started talking. I have a chapter a little more than halfway through Qetran Odyssey that deals with the backstory of one of my party members. Not a main character, but very main character adjacent. Not to spoil anything, but he ends up losing his daughter and is telling the main character about all of this and how it happened. But I put that chapter into a critique group because I wanted to make sure that it wasn't insensitive, make sure it landed correctly. I didn't want to brush off something so heavy. So I handed that out for opinions, basically, and ended up getting back probably 10 or 15 emails from different people. And every single one of them basically said, I'm a parent, and this made me cry. It's perfect. And there was one in particular that said, I lost my child, and you did this beautifully. And as someone who's never gone through that, I could not receive a higher compliment. So that is probably what I'm the most proud of at this point.
That's a very, very good answer, and definitely something everybody should strive for that wants to put pen to paper. Not to jerk us out of that mindset, but what's been your most embarrassing moment as an author so far?
I uploaded my novella to Kindle for the launch with the wrong cover.
Whoops.
I put the paperback cover on the Kindle edition and the Kindle cover on the paperback edition, and I couldn't change it until after launch.
How many copies went out with the wrong cover on? Do you remember?
About half a dozen.
That's only 6.
I know,
Well,
but
that's not too bad.
I changed it quick. But in like the first day, the ebook, it updates when I fix stuff, so it's fine. But
Yeah.
it was annoying to say the least.
Well, you have to get whiplash in a situation like that, letting everybody know the book's coming out. Everybody buy my book, and then at the moment of, stop, no, wait.
Don't do it.
Oh, well, everybody makes mistakes. People, heck, I changed my cover once, and I might do it again. I'm not sure. So, you know, how many copies will be out there? How many different copies of old and older will be out there? I do not know.
I have another friend who accidentally uploaded his first draft and left it out in the wild for 3 months. So at least I didn't do that.
That's okay. As long as you have the ability to go back and fix it up, I think you're in good shape. All right. Well, let's say that you get to the end of the Crimson Prophecy. Book sales are awesome. You get everything that you were hoping to get out of it, whatever that is. What do you do then? What's the big goal for you? Do you want to continue writing?
When I started this whole mess and decided to write a book, my goal was to finish a project on this scale. Prove to myself that I could do it. I did that. I have 2. I have that hard copy on my shelf. And it's both extremely satisfying and extremely not, because I know the story's not finished.
Mm-hmm.
So I intend to finish that story, and what comes after that, I will decide when I get there. I have more ideas than I can count for more books, more stories. I've got a sci-fi project on my plate that I want to do. I've got a lit RPG project that I want to do. I've got another much different fantasy project I want to do. And it's going to be a matter of whether I have the time and the resources and the demand to put that much time into them.
Well, again, it sounds like you have options. So, as soon as I put my first book out there, I knew I didn't want to stop. It was
right.
Just releasing a pressure valve, really, is kind of just what it feels like.
It's weirdly addictive.
Yep, and getting it out of your head so it doesn't occupy that space is a wonderful feeling. So,
that's why I'm here.
Yeah, don't. I wouldn't let stuff build up in there too much more, especially if people are really enjoying it.
Yeah.
Make a life out of it.
Yeah.
At the very least, it can always be a hobby.
Yeah. I'm going to finish the hopefully trilogy and probably take a break and then see where to go from there. There's also plans for probably 3 or 4 more novellas and about a dozen short stories that spin off from this. So,
gotcha.
Yeah.
Now we're going to try to get people hooked on the idea of the Qetran Odyssey by playing Read the Fucking Book. Go ahead and tell me your main character's first name and where he's at, she's at. I don't know when the book starts.
All right. Her name is Inara, and she is in her home in the city of Tualan with soldiers closing in.
Why are the soldiers closing in?
They are attempting to control the elvish population.
So Inara is an elf?
Yes.
Okay. Are the soldiers elves or some other race?
They are not elves.
What are they?
Human.
Okay. What is it about that land that they want to control?
They already control the land. There's a tense, racially based caste system.
Okay. Did that originate from some sort of particular war or interspecies disagreement?
Yes, actually. About 3,000 years ago, there was a war, and things went downhill from there.
Who started it?
Depends on who you ask.
Oh. You wrote the world. Who started it?
A very disgruntled human population, and other races, but mostly human, pushed back against an elvish expansion.
Okay. Okay. How large is the land that everybody has to work at? It seems like there's not enough to go around for everybody, it seems.
I haven't really put a real world scale to it, but it would take a very long time to travel from one coast to the other. Probably something about the size of the lower 48 and Canada put together.
Okay.
Roughly.
So it's limited in scale.
It's somewhat limited. But that's one continent. So there's a wider world out there.
And how many races inhabit it?
There's 6 coming to the top of my head, but there's definitely more than that. We just haven't found them yet.
Are any of them purely antagonistic to your story?
Not purely, no.
Okay. What does Anara do about the soldiers in closing?
She runs.
Where to?
She ends up in the basement of a general store.
Okay. Anybody else
Shoved
there?
through a coal chute by her mother.
Anybody else in the coal chute?
Yes. There's a little bit of an Underground Railroad situation with people helping people flee the city and the situation. There's several other refugees in that cellar with her that end up being companions for a large part of the rest of the story.
Okay. What would you say if there is this fellowship, so to speak, that forms in the Underground Railroad is the main goal of whatever it is that they're doing? Is it escaping? Is it revenge?
I would say the initial goal is escape.
Okay.
There are rumors of a safe place across the sea in a different land, and that's where they're headed.
So this Underground Railroad system, they're trying to escape. How far away are they going?
They would have to cross a sea, well, an ocean, essentially,
Okay.
and go to a different continent.
What is the first thing that they run into in this continent, this new continent?
Initially, when landing, they encounter a city where everyone is asleep, except for the elves.
Okay. Why are the elves not asleep?
That's where you're going to have to read the f***ing book.
Read the fucking book. Okay. Read his fucking book, everybody. It's coming out November 10th. It will be available on Amazon. Anywhere else you want to mention?
Just Amazon for now.
Okay.
Hardback, paperback, Kindle.
Where can everybody kind of get hooked up with you on any social medias and keep track of your progress on the sequel if they get your book and enjoy it?
I'm pretty much everywhere. I'm Facebook, Twitter, all the usual places. The handle is usually dhallauthor.
Okay.
I'm on YouTube. TikTok is probably the most active.
Really?
But and the website as well, derrickhallauthor.com.
Awesome. Well, I'll put a link to everything that you sent me down below the video in the description. That way everybody can get a hold of you. There'll be a link to your book. I'll add that when it's available. Is there anything that you want to say to any of your readers or prospective readers before we call it a night?
Just a quick word. Someone asked me one time who was the one person I was writing this for other than myself. And I basically would say that it's that one person who is facing something that they don't think they can handle or don't think they can get through. You can do it. It's helpful to me to find characters, movies, books, video games, whatever, that can do the thing that I'm struggling with. And that's what I'm hoping this book can do for some other people.
Strong words, for sure. I like that a lot. I'm definitely excited to see what happens with your book. I hope everything goes awesome with it. Like I said, everybody get yourself a copy of it. Derrick, I'm going to let you go for the night. Let me know when you're getting ready to put out the sequel to this book. Be happy to have you back on.
I'm hoping to put that out either spring or summer of next year.
Sounds fantastic. Well, I'll get it. I'll stay in touch with you then. Have a good night, sir. I appreciate it.
You too. Thanks, Sean.
That was author Derrick Hall talking about his book, The Qetran Odyssey, book 1 of the Crimson Prophecy series. I'll go ahead and put all of the stuff that you need to get a hold of him or his book in the description below. Check out his book, leave him a review if you give it a read, and if you like the interview, give us a like, hit the notification bell for notifications on future videos. Subscribe to the channel is another great way to keep up to date with us. Have a good night.